Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here, and today we have a replay from Inzight in the Tier 10 Soviet Battleship the Kremlin. The mighty Kremlin that has been hit pretty hard with the nerf hammer since its original release way back in the day. Now, I do not know what build Inzight is using on his Kremlin. He did not include that in the email in which he sent in his replay, but just judging by some of the figures and such, like his concealment range and his reload time, I do suspect he is running the normal standard Soviet battleship slash high-tier Soviet heavy cruiser build, which is a tank build, which is basically what most battleships use today. So something like preventive maintenance, MLG turrets, BFT, AFT, basis of survivability, adrenaline rush, and fire prevention. Normally. Maybe something a little bit different. Inside, if you're watching, let me know in the comments down below. I suspect this module build is something like main battery or main armaments mod 1, damage con 1, probably aiming systems mod 1, damage con 2, concealment, and then maybe main battery mod 3. We'll have to see when he fires what his reload time is. Right now we're witnessing the slowest crash in Warships history. Just a little love tap there to the stern of the Yoshino. But anyway, the Kremlin, I'm assuming most of you are very familiar with this ship. If you're not, it's a Tier 10 Soviet battleship. She has 9 18-inch guns with Soviet battleship, well, not Soviet battleship, just Soviet velocity in general, which means that these guns hit extremely hard. Now, they are 457mm guns, 18-inch. They aren't the 460mm the 460 millimeters that the Yammy's guns are. So they are slightly smaller than Yammy's guns, and they cannot overmatch 32mm of armor, which means it cannot overmatch the bows of Tier 10 battleships. So, although they are 18-inch guns, they don't have that ability, but they are still some pretty mean guns. And back in the day, when the Kremlin could reliably hit targets at 28 kilometers before the Sigma got reduced, the dispersion got increased, and a host of other nerfs, that was pretty darn overpowered. But again, she has been hit with the nerf hammer pretty hard, and now her effective range is somewhere around 12-ish kilometers inward because of the Soviet battleship gimmick, where the closer you are to the target, the better your dispersion is. And the further away you are from the target, the crappier your dispersion is. So shooting at targets in excess of 15 kilometers is pretty darn dicey. And even shooting at 15 kilometers isn't really that reliable in the Kremlin. You really don't get good reliable dispersion until you're within like 12 kilometers, so around 10-ish kilometers. So anyway, he is on the Atlantic map here, and the Soyuz is taking some opening shots at him along with the Goliath. And he has gone to the sea cap, eats a little damage there from the Soyuz and gets one fire from the Goliath. The sea cap is what I consider to be the fun cap on this map, be it it's a lot more closed in, a lot better for brawling, not as open as the A or B maps. So when I get this map, his turrets eat those and save him from getting a nasty hit there from the Kansas. When I play this map in GK, I'm more than happy when I spawn on this side of the map. Now, if you do notice, down at the A map, well, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 friendly ships there or heading in that way. And there's about 1, 2, 3, 4 enemy ships heading there, which means that the bulk of the enemy team is on his side of the map. He only has a Fletcher and a Yoshino with him. Down there at A, they have a 2-to-1 ship advantage. We'll see what happens to that later on. So anyway, he's stopping right here before going around that corner because, well, that's a smoke screen right there, and the Benson was last spotted there. So there's a very, very good chance there are torpedoes already in the water. And torpedoes are not a battleship's friend. We do not want to eat the torpedoes. They're very bad for battleships. Here comes the this is a CV game, by the way, if you haven't been able to tell yet. Here comes the enemy Parzival coming right at Inzight's Kremlin. Now, the German carriers have massive AP bombs, and I find the Kremlin and the Slava to be some of the easiest Tier 10 battleships to constantly citadel with those AP bombs. Now, I don't know what happened there. The Kremlin does have pretty decent AA still. It has been nerfed quite a bit. Ooh, Goliath sitting at 10 kilometers away. It has been nerfed quite a bit since its original introduction into the game. But I'm assuming, ooh, good Citadel on the Goliath, even though his dispersion wasn't that great. 2 pins, 4 pins, and 1 Citadel. Again, the Kremlin's AA is pretty good, but he only shut down 2 planes. So either that Parzival flew into the Yoshino's flank, or he just recalled his planes for whatever reason. But here comes more planes. He's sending torpedo bombers over in this general direction. Looks like he's going after the Fletcher. So Insight has made the call to push the smokescreen and push the 1, 2, 3, 4 enemy ships in front of him. And the Yoshino is peeling off right now, saying, "Nah, fam, I don't want any of that. You got that, man." And behold, a Fletcher erupts from the smokescreen, full charge. And luckily, Insight does get a pretty good group right there. He gets 2 pins and 3 overpins on the Benson. Naked Benson too. And he has more than likely dumped torpedoes in the water right now. And lo and behold, there they are. But that's only 1 set of torpedoes. The Benson has 2 tubes. 2 sets of tubes. So, I think the Benson was probably trying to go for Insight in the Kremlin and then take out the Yoshino. But the Yoshino, of course, turned around and is much further away from the Kremlin than the Benson thought. That's my theory, at least. And if you notice on the minimap right now, the Benson has now started to turn around. Also, if you notice on the minimap, the 8 friendlies at A have not pushed, despite having a 2-to-1 ship advantage. Here's the Benson yet again, and ooh, bye-bye Benson. Now, we just witnessed there with the turrets being out of position is a known replay glitch. His turrets really were pointed at the Benson. The replay system just messed up and made them appear to be pointing almost forward. Happens from time to time in the replay system. It's not perfect. So now, Insight is hydroed by, more than likely, the Goliath hiding on the other side of that rock. He's got a Savetsky Soyuz at his nose and another Kansas off to the right. So he's in a pretty protected place right now. The only thing is the Goliath could be coming around the corner and trying to torpedo him, which I think he's kind of expecting. He keeps looking back there. But he's also trying to keep an eye on this Soyuz up here, because it does look like the Soyuz is charging him. The Soyuz is, of course, another Soviet battleship and does well at close range. But hello, torpedoes, and hello, broadside Goliath. Gets his 3rd turret pointing in that direction, rips a damage con there. That shot just overpinned. That shot didn't. Gets a triple Citadel off of the Goliath, and that is 1 Goliath left on this planet. Now, of course, the Soviet battleships do have a limited number of damage cons, and Insight has been burning through his, so he's down to 3 already. And now the Soyuz is charging him, but takes a shot at the Kremlin's cheek, mistaking it for Yami apparently, and just gets a bounce, but does disable 1 of his turrets, which does suck. He's going to this brawl now with only 1 turret, and right here looks like the Savetsky Soyuz is going to ram, so he does the smart thing, he gets his 1 remaining turret off on the Kansas, but then the Soyuz turns out of the ram, and of all things, the Soyuz whiffs the shot, meaning his turrets were not in position, and he just sails right on by the Kremlin. Kremlin has an exposed Citadel and is super... speaking of exposed Citadels, triple Citadel on the Soyuz. Kremlin has an exposed Citadel. It's above the waterline. If the Soyuz's turrets were in position, he could have just ended Insight's whole career right there. Insight tries to pin the stern armor on the Soyuz, does not go through. Soyuz was still angled enough to get it to bounce, and the Soyuz makes the error of continuing to turn after a brawl. When you continue a brawl, you either want to keep going straight or turn out of it, not continue to turn into it, because this happens. Insight gets through the stern armor on the Soyuz and finishes off the Soyuz with, of all things, his secondaries. Kremlin has a grand total of 8 secondary turrets, and he just got a close quarters expert on a Soyuz with Kremlin secondaries. Boy, speaking of secondaries, he's actually at 90 secondary hits already, and look at this, he's found the Parzival. So, if you're paying attention to the minimap too, his team still has not pushed A. And just now, the FDG is finally starting to head in his general direction to provide him with assistance, but he's already pushing this flank by himself and doing a pretty darn good job at it. Broadside Parzival from 13 kilometers away gets 23,000 off of that hit, 1 Citadel and 6 overpins. Good God. Imagine if they actually pinned. And Parzival is just absolutely throwing his planes at Insight's Kremlin, trying to knock him out of the match. But you cannot stop the Kremlin, sir. Well, first you gotta hit the Kremlin in the right place with your AP bombs, then you can stop it. More torpedoes are coming out. Gets almost 15,000 hit there. Another 1 Citadel, 7 overpins on the Parzival. Parzival's trying to run away. So is the Kansas, but Kansas can't run away because it's literally not fast enough to run away. Parzival trying to escape desperately so. Insight's guns are almost already loaded. Broadside boosters sailing in front of the Parzival. Very tempting target there. Sets his 2 turrets off on the Parzival. Tries to get his 3rd turret to lock onto the booster, but lock-on feature goes a little funky there. He's not able to pull it off. So he gets the Parzival, doesn't finish off the booster. This is his 4th kill now, by the way. He's got this Kansas here that literally cannot run away from, and Parzival only has rocket planes left to attack the Kremlin. And while rocket planes can still do a decent amount of damage, the AP rocket planes can still do a decent amount of damage on battleships, it's not enough to take down a Kremlin that's at 22,000 health and is healing. So now, Insight is down to 1 damage con. So, after he pops that last damage con, any fire that gets set will be a permanent fire and will not be able to be put out. Oh, he does have Kuznetsov on, by the way, so he does get the Will to Victory talent, where he simply refuses to die. Oh, by the way, don't go broadside to Soviet battleships. Kansas is taken out for Kraken Unleashed. So he's at 5 kills now, 234,000 damage, and it's not over yet. So, right now, despite Insight literally taking the Eastern Front by himself, the friendly team is still not doing so hot. They're losing A. All those ships down there at A are dead now, despite having a 2-to-1 ship advantage. And now the enemy team's capping A. And Insight's having to deal with this booster. And there goes. That's his last damage con right there. So once this damage con gets done running, the only damage con he will have left is Kuznov's special ability. So he's firing at this booster. What is really annoying is that the booster is actually angled, and he's hitting him, but he's still getting overpins despite the booster being angled. So there's that Soviet velocity coming back to bite him in the stern. Even with the massive 18-inch shells going through the booster's hull, it's not dying. So he gets his front 2 turrets off in the booster 1. Once again, this is one of the more annoying parts of being a battleship player and being in this situation. You know, you're hitting the target, you're getting multiple hits on the target, but oh, there's his Will to Victory skill, which just saved him from a fire. So now he literally has no damage cons left. Anyway, you're hitting the target, you're hitting him in his Citadel, but you're still overpinning him and not doing a lot of damage. Or worse, you bounce him like that and still just get 1 overpin. But with enough overpins, ships will sink. And this is kill number 6 for Insight. And his team's losing. Man has 6 kills, 253,000 damage done, and the team is losing. They do not have any caps to their name. For whatever reason, the Yoshino player and the FDG player did not go to the unclaimed C cap. For whatever reason. So now the enemy team has 2 caps to themselves. They're gaining points, and the friendly team is not gaining anything. So right now it's just pure profit for the enemy team. And every second that this continues to happen, the enemy team is pulling further and further and further ahead, which means they can still lose more ships, but still be ahead points-wise from the friendly team. So Insight's just like, well, I guess if no one's going to cap C, I just gotta do it myself then, don't I? But anyway, sit rep down south. Friendly team that was down south, completely dead except for the Implacable, which is running for its life. Got an enemy Alsace charging a Yoshino, which isn't the worst call from the Alsace. The Yoshino is not a particularly tough ship. It's quite frail in all actuality if you've never played the Yoshino or simply looked in its direction. So also, Insight has the patience of a Tibetan monk. I would have let these shells rip by now, because it's a French battleship, French baguette armor. Probably would get full pins off of it from this angle, but he waits just a little bit longer just for the Alsace to show him just a little bit more broadside and get that much more guarantee that these shells will pin. And pin they do for kill number 7. And the friendly team is still losing. Man has 7 kills. Took a flank effectively by himself. Friendly team is still losing. I can't believe this. Actually, I can believe it with the way a lot of higher tier matches go. So basically, what happened here is that the normal, well, what is normal at higher tier now, distribution of teams happened. One team goes one flank really hard, one team goes the other flank really hard, and both sides normally push and kind of just chase each other around the map. But instead of the heavy side on the enemy team pushing, they got taken out by Insight. And their lighter side took out the friendly heavy side. So, what should have been an easy win for Insight and his team is now coming down to the enemy team having 3 ships left alive, and they're still ahead almost by 100 points. Because the friendly team didn't cap, and the friendly team, despite having a 2-1 advantage at A, didn't push or kill any of the... Well, I think they got a couple. I mean, shoot, Insight's got 7 kills here, so there's 8 ships left alive, so they killed one of them. I'm sorry, there's 4 ships left alive, so there's 8 ships that have been sucked. Yeah, they got one of them. It's just, wow. Anyway, so Insights, no, I'm sorry, there's, God, I was looking at the friendly ship count in the front. Yeah, enemy, friendly team has killed 2 ships, and Insight has killed the rest of them. The 2 DDs that are dead, the friendly team killed them, then Insight got the Benson and the rest of the surface ships, except for that Thunderer right there. And it's not over with yet. Insight's going to cap the sea cap, because even with the enemy team only having 2 ships left alive, friendly team is not pulling ahead on points. And points win the matches. Kills do too, but a lot of times it comes down to points. So we have an enemy Odin charging a Yoshino and an FDG. Kudos to the Odin player for going for it. Again, you're in an Odin, tier 8 battleship in a tier 10 game. Great armor, not the best health though. Has tier 5 battleships levels of health. It's really a super cruiser rather than a battleship, and you got taken out there by the Implacable's torpedo. Replay has a bit of a stroke right here. Wargaming, please fix the replay system, please. And we're back to normal now. Insight is just now crossing over into the free cap that the Implacable is also sailing to, but it looks like the Implacable's autopilot sent it in between the islands over there down south of sea, which I'm sure freaked out the autopilot. So there's that. And it's looking like Insight's going to get a free cap here, which a solo cap is 1,000 base XP. That's a lot of freaking XP, by the way. So, enemy Hindenburg, again, kudos to the Hindenburg. He's not turning, he's not hiding, he's facing the enemy team. He's taking them somewhat head on, which is unlike most players who will just run and hide for the rest of the match when they're the last ship alive in the enemy team, which, if Insight hadn't been capturing this base, and if that Odin hadn't died, would have been the correct move by the enemy team. All the enemy team had to do to win was simply not die. But that's hard when your CV's dead, thanks to Insight, and the friendly CV is still alive. So, yeah. So, enemy Hindenburg is now charging the Yoshino and there's a solo cap ribbon from Insight. So, easy 1,000 base XP there. He's charging the FDG now, and since the Hindenburg got its reload buff, oh god, that I was about to say not that long ago, but it actually has been a while ago now. It's quite a formidable ship. It can easily burn down that FDG and the Yoshino too, if the Hindenburg player was a very, very, very good Hindenburg player. And it looks like this guy does know what he's doing, at least. Up until this point, he turns now in front of an FDG and shows him his broadside, probably to get off his torpedoes, but you can see the FDG does the smart thing there and pops his hydroacoustic search, but also turns out, which is not a smart thing. Insight gets his front two turrets off, and god, a Kremlin with a freaking 23-second reload to talk about spooky, for a 19-kilometer shot, and his shells come down with emphasis and secure his 8th kill of the match. Alright, so the man finished with 8 kills and 268,000 damage done. Like, wow. Man also got Confederate close quarters expert in a Kremlin, Dreadnought, Kraken Unleashed, and High Caliber. He finished with 3,000 base XP. Talk about some XP. Which, of course, after boosters have been applied, he netted 12,805 XP. Good God, man. Good freaking God. There's no I in team, but there sure is in Kremlin. That's all I gotta say about that. Of course, when the ships are within 10 kilometers of you, which I'm pretty sure most of those kills happen from within about 12 kilometers, which again is the Kremlin sweep zone. He literally took down a flank by himself. An amazing move, my guy. As you guys saw during the replay, he was very slow, very methodical. I would have probably been running full tilt, which probably would have got me killed much earlier than well, actually, he didn't get killed, so I probably would have died to the Goliath, honestly. I would have gone flying around that corner, which is something I need to work on. But good job, man. Good plays. My hat's off to you. What an amazing game you had, sir. Alright guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you have a replay that you'd like to send in, link to that is in the description down below. Feel free to send them in if you got one you'd like me to take a look at. If you did enjoy the video, again, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We are on our way to 20,000 subscribers. We just passed 18,600 not that long ago, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. Otherwise, guys, hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.